So, anyways, now that we're 45 seconds in, let's actually introduce the podcast. So this, I don't know what this is going to be about, but we're just gonna talk about video games because we want to, right?
Yeah, shoot the shot.
Yeah, we're shooting it. So
It will be shot.
yeah, it sure will. So the name that we're going with is called The Deserted Gamer because I live in the desert and I left you behind, and we talk over Discord. So, but what better to do than to start with name 3 games that you would bring to a desert island if you were stranded.
We're getting right into that. All right.
Yeah, why not?
Echo the Dolphin, because if I play that one, then some dolphins might come and I can ride them back to safety.
Echo 1 on Genesis?
Yeah, just the dolphins will hear it. Like, presumably this is like you got like a TV, I'm assuming.
So, okay, rules. I guess we'll set some ground rules. You have a TV, and it's flat screen or CRT, so you can do modern or retro, whatever.
Nice.
You have any console you want. So if you want to say the rarest game on the frickin' 3DO, we can get you that.
The Virtual Boy.
So yeah. If you want the Virtual Boy up in there, go ahead. But you have no internet, so no Fortnite.
Oh, well,
Can't bring Fortnite.
Then what's the point, right? If I can't play Fortnite, then what's even the point in living by that point? I just drown myself.
Yeah, so no Fortnite.
Yeah.
All right. Is Echo the Dolphin a serious answer?
I don't think I've ever even played Echo the Dolphin.
I used to have it on the Genesis, and I had the Sega CD version, and I think that they're the same exact game, except like the soundtrack, but I don't even really know.
Yeah, this is how much I don't know about Echo the Dolphin. When you clarified Echo the Dolphin 1, in my mind I was like, there's a second one? They made a sequel? Is it his kid?
They made like a bunch of versions of the first one. So there's like a version on the Genesis, and then there's a version on Sega CD, but then I think they made a sequel on the Dreamcast, and I used to own that as well, but never really played it and then sold it.
Like in 3D?
Man, I don't know. Look up a YouTube video of it after this.
Yeah, so anyway, I would have to go with Ocarina of Time, because that's my favorite game ever, and I always have a good time playing that game, no matter what.
Oh, yeah? Starting off, Ocarina of Time is your favorite game ever? Yeah. Commenters, feel free to argue.
The best game ever. It's better than Mid of the Wild and...
Yo, you said Mid of the Wild?
Mid of the Kingdom. It's better than all those games.
Oh my goodness. We are gonna...
Nah, I do. Breath of the Wild was also in contention because it's got more content, but I feel like if I wanted to... I enjoy Ocarina of Time more, so...
Yeah. We can get more into that. The topics are going to present themselves because, you know, we're going to have to unpack you liking Ocarina.
All right. Listen, it is a great game.
I agree. I like it too.
Fun time.
I like it too. The internet just likes to talk trash.
Yeah, they like to say like, it's like a basic in terms of Zelda, and it's like, yeah, but it's because every Zelda game has like at least some sort of gimmick, right?
Yeah.
That like, because that's like Nintendo's big thing is like, especially for the main series, like trying to add a specific gimmick or something, and that's why a lot of people don't like. Why I think like a lot of people think like that era of Mario where it was like basically just New Super Mario Bros. 8 times was kind of boring.
Horrible.
Yeah, because it didn't really iterate on it. It didn't add like experimental stuff.
No.
But for Ocarina of Time, its main gimmick was that it was in 3D. It was The Legend of Zelda, but 3D.
Yeah, and the whole N64 era was like that, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah. The thing that I think works so well is that it's laid the groundwork for basically every other 3D action game to come after it, and it's just a good game, and it's got a banging soundtrack.
Oh, totally. I was actually showing my girlfriend some of the songs from that game the other day, and I was like, listen to how like cheerful the first area is, and then listen to how like horrifying the end of the game is.
Oh yeah. Oh no, like one of the best moments in that game is like when you pull the Master Sword. You go from like the clock town, like the cheery clock town music, and you step out of the Temple of Time, and it's just completely desolate. There's no music playing. It's all redeads, and you're like, oh, Something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm not in the Ocarina of Time like hate boat. I hope that people understand that like I do love that game. I haven't played it in a long time, but and I definitely wouldn't call it like my favorite game ever by any means. But I still think it's a good game. So all right, game 2 for you.
For me, another one of my favorite games of all time, which is Skyrim, because I feel like I get a lot out of that one.
It's a great desert island game.
Around in that game.
Yes, a great desert island game.
Yeah, because that one's like there's so much content in that game just off the cuff, but then there's also when I would be bored, like as in a high school and stuff, and like didn't have any new games to play, and I would just pop in Skyrim and do like, oh, let's kill all the guards in the city and see how long it takes for them to take me down.
Totally. Like, so real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you cuss in your YouTube videos?
Do I curse? Yes.
Okay. Do you not? I don't. So I'm gonna edit out your cusses. But yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I was just like, oh my god, this is a YouTube video. Totally cool.
I had a whole smash or pass video on Dark Souls bosses. So I feel like by that point, it's only up.
It's only up from there, man.
It is. There is no lower point.
Is that one of your most viewed videos? I had to seriously
consider whether or not I wanted to sleep with the Asylum Demon.
Is that one of your most viewed?
From then on, no, that is. It's kind of up there. I think it's my third most viewed. My most viewed is my Trails Love Letter video.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that was.
It was also the one I worked the hardest on. That one.
Yes.
That took a lot of rewrites, and you can tell because and a lot of time editing, and you can tell because when I released that video, you can hear me say in the script, Trails Through Daybreak is releasing sometime next year, and it was next year when that video came out.
Oh my gosh. I don't spend nearly that time on my scripts. If you can't tell, I've churned out 3 video essays about 3 different Mega Man games in 3 weeks, so definitely not that amount of time.
Works, man. I figured I actually like writing the scripts, which actually helps.
Real quick, before we get into talking about YouTube stuff, which I totally want to do, and I love it, what's your third game?
So I was going to cheat and say the entire Trail series, because they're all connected, but I feel like that would be a cop-out.
Right.
So I think then I would probably have to go with probably Kingdom Hearts 2. It's another one of my favorite games of all time, and one I can play endlessly.
There are a ton of dogs barking outside of my apartment right now, and I'm like, of course. Like, we get under 10 minutes in recording.
If it helps, I can't hear it. So.
All right, good.
I don't know if it's going to show up on the recording then.
I don't think so, because I don't think I could hear it back, because I can hear back my own microphone.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. But
just
anyway.
Hear 8 dog echoes reverberating.
Yeah, but Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
Another game that I love so much.
Yeah, I remember you, I remember our heated talks.
Oh, all the time. I have to give it another shot someday. I mean, those heated debates were like 5 years ago at this point, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah. And definitely, I would suggest playing the HD versions because they are much better.
Yeah, it's just like how a lot of people suggest that I watch Star Wars. I'm just like,
well, you'll need to watch the originals and the sequels, or not the sequels. Sorry, the prequels.
Yeah, I'm all right. Anyway, you want to hear my 3?
Yeah. What are your 3 games?
Chrono Trigger for sure.
Of course.
Easy.
Expected that one.
Yeah, I love that game. And when we were in college together, I probably would say that was my definitive favorite game of all time. I don't know if I would put that at number 1 still, but it's definitely way up there.
I think you mentioned it was like fighting it out with Persona 4 at the time.
Yeah, at the time. Definitely not now. I probably wouldn't put any of the Personas in my top 5 anymore. Just kind of grown out of it.
Yeah, I would still probably put Persona 3 for me.
Oh wow,
that game is so like, it's got a great message, and I think that's what helps it for me.
Yeah, but anyway, Chrono Trigger, because it was the first RPG I ever really played, and it's still definitely in my top 5, but probably not number 1. But it also has 18 different endings, and it's pretty long, even though it's from the 90s. It's still a pretty long game. I have to go with that. My second game, the game that I do say is my favorite game of all time now, is Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, I do remember you mentioning your love for Mario Sunshine.
Mario Sunshine is at least a once-a-year playthrough for me, but I gotta be honest, I've only gotten every single Shine Sprite once. because it's really hard.
No, I respect that because I beat Mario Sunshine for like the first time when the what was the one on the Switch where they had like 64.
The collection.
Yeah, and that game completely wrecked me.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I am terrible at 3D platformers, like just by default. And then playing that game, I was like, this is a new level.
Yes. And it's also, for me, it's sitting down to have the patience to get every single blue coin is just so infuriating.
Doesn't it have that thing where it's like every time you collect a blue coin, you gotta like say when you want to save.
Yes. It's that's the glaring flaw with the game for me, but I'd still put it as my favorite game of all time. I'm not, by no means am I saying it's like a 10 out of 10 game. It's just my favorite.
No, go for it. For me, and it's a little bit off topic, but for me, I mean, I don't like to put number reviews on games just because I feel like there's a lot of nuance. But when I do, 10 out of 10 to me isn't a perfect game because no game is perfect. Right. A 10 out of 10 is a game that like I think has been so effective like on my life that I will think about it almost forever.
Yeah. And that's how Mario Sunshine is for me.
Yeah.
So my third and final, I wrote down Mega Man X2. My reasoning for it is that the X games, though I would say I like Mega Man Classic more than X, X2 is a better game for the Desert Island because there's a little more variety to the X games when you're doing like, do you kill the X hunters or not? Do you get all the sub-tanks or not? Whereas with Mega Man Classic, a lot of them are you just kind of blow through it. However, Mega Man 7 has a little bit of variety to it in that way, and so that might actually be the answer instead of X2. And real quick, the gameplay that I'm going to use for this, while obviously I'm just recording audio right now, but then the whole video itself is going to have some gameplay. I recorded like the first half of Mega Man 7 just because, and I played through the first like 4 Robot Master stages, and I did it like without dying once, and I felt so freaking proud of myself, and I was like, I am absolutely using this footage for something. So X2 or Mega Man 7.
Well, that's a nice picks. I mean, I can't speak on Mega Man because I believe I told you before, but I got all the way to Wily Stage 1 for Mega Man 2, couldn't figure out how to do that platforming with the dog.
Oh my god.
And then just gave up.
Well, you gotta watch my video on Mega Man 2. I do it in that video.
Yeah. I did watch a video of Mega Man 2, but I was just like, because I heard you mention that in the video, and I was like, oh yeah, that's where I left off of that game.
Yeah.
I never beat it.
I love that game, and I remember getting to that when you have to do the 3 platforms and being like just so confused. But I remember looking it up on YouTube and then being like, oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I remember looking up on YouTube and then being like, oh yeah, I can do that. I could not do it.
Oh, it's still hard to pull off, for sure.
Yeah, to further iron through the point that I am terrible at platformers.
I asked my girlfriend the Desert Island question as well, and she actually gave really, really good answers. I think her answers are actually like so much better than mine.
Okay.
She said, and these are so good for just like specifically Desert Island, GTA 5.
Oh, that is a nice one.
Right? So much to do in that game.
There's the sandbox. Oh, that's good.
Even without the online, like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Mario Baseball for the GameCube. So there's actually a ton to do in that game too. And
I remember that game.
Here we go. Here's the real kicker though. Arguably the best game to take to the Desert Island, Sims 4.
Oh, yeah.
Endless.
An endless game is probably the best to take to a deserted island like that. I think for me, I have like a weird anxiety thing with endless games.
Yeah.
Where, like if a game doesn't end, I feel like I don't know. It gives me like this existential like
totally
thing of like there's got to be an end.
Yeah. It's difficult for me too, and that's why I didn't play Minecraft for so many years.
Yeah.
I didn't play Minecraft until like 2022.
The last time I played Minecraft was when like one of the newer updates happened, and one of my friends from high school hit me up and he was like, hey man, like Minecraft new update. He's like, do you want to like play it together with me? And we just like make a server and just like kind of chill. And I was like, yeah, sure. Played it the one night. I knew nothing of what was added because it had been like almost 10 years. And after that, just never played the game again.
Yeah, totally. I was playing it on the 360 a little bit co-op with my girlfriend. But the first time I played it was with my boys from high school, and we did like a vanilla run because I had never played the game, and I had a lot of fun with it. But eventually, you just like, okay, I'll play this again tomorrow, and then you don't play it for months, and then your whole group moves on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that would involve online, and so one of our rules for this desert island thing is no internet, so I don't know how much I could get by on something like Minecraft without
I couldn't even imagine just doing single-player Minecraft for however long you're stuck on that island.
Yeah, no, the answers of GTA 5, Mario Baseball, and Sims 4 are so good.
Yeah, they're very good.
So let's talk about YouTube. I know we were talking about YouTube a little bit. Have you been catching did you catch some of my stuff?
Yeah, I haven't watched the newest video yet, but I have
That's
been
fine.
catching some of your stuff.
My newest video came out like a couple days ago, time of recording this. Sounds like you spend a lot more time on your scripts than me.
Yeah, I mean, I love writing, so that helps. And I also am, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but I do a lot of like editing my stuff, because especially not just for the scripts, but especially for like the editing process of the video itself. Mm-hmm. I spend so many hours doing that, specifically because I'll like hear something and I'll be like, ooh, the sound sounds off. I don't like that.
Right.
And then even if it's like a 2-second thing, I miss a lot of stuff because I edit late at night.
Yes.
I'm not going to act like my one video, which is my the weird trails video that I did a while back, a what if scenario kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That is probably the nerdiest I've ever done anything for. Because that was like a deep cut. I have never heard anybody else talk about this kind of stuff, kind of thing. But yeah, that one has a part in the video where I messed up the sound for my voice. So it's all at the same level throughout the video. And then one part of my voice just gets really quiet for no reason.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, in terms of script writing, I do really like writing scripts. And I've learned that I definitely I ironically talk more naturally when I read off a script than I do just kind of off the cuff,
right,
off the dome.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
When I am reading my scripts, I will like halfway read it and I'll like get the point, and then I'll just kind of start like talking, you know.
Yeah,
and
like
then, when I need to come back to it, I'll like start reading again. You know, it's kind of I go like back and forth. Do you do that?
For some things, I did that for my like that Trails video I was talking about, the like what if one. And I kind of did that for my first video, which is my 13 facts about Kingdom Hearts that are absolute complete lies. That was a lot of fun to make. But yeah, I think for the most part now, I just kind of read off the script, because I think I like to think that I know how I talk well enough after 26 years of life. And I feel like I can write how I talk in the script, so that it actually, like, when I'm reading it, it comes off as if I'm just saying it. And there are moments where I can hear, because I think everybody has that sort of, especially if they're not used to reading off a script, they have that kind of different intonation when they're reading off a script, and when you kind of hear the difference, especially if you kind of go back and forth. And there are moments where that does happen, but
I think it happens to me too. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for the most part, I've got it down to sound at least fairly natural. Right. Although what I do hate, and I don't know if you've noticed this for yourself, but I can tell, even if like it's been a while now, because I will sometimes watch my videos back to make sure, like, to see what I don't like about them and like trying to improve upon, like the sound thing I mentioned. Yeah. I now make sure that everything is the same level volume for my speaking voice, and I try to make sure that the different music that I use is like at least somewhat of the same level.
Yep. I'm super anal about that too. Yeah.
But I will listen, and sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I can tell I messed up on the script there, and it took a lot of takes because I can hear it in my voice where I'm like almost like, especially for like an alliteration. Like there was one line in one of my videos where I had to say something like specific skill sets of the students, and I could not for the life of me say that. It legitimately took me like 20 takes. And I think in the video you can hear me going like specific skill sets of the students, and then I pause. And you can tell like, oh, that was that one.
No, yeah. Was that about Persona?
No, that was from that Trails video.
Oh, gotcha. Sure.
Yeah.
Have you done a Persona video?
No, that's my next video. It's going to be talking about the sort of original ending, the original true ending for Persona 5. Because I feel like a lot of people have like in recent times been like, oh, Royal's ending just completely blows the originals out of the water. And I am not of that opinion at all.
Huh.
I love the original's ending.
Yeah, I only finished the original. I haven't finished Royal yet. I didn't get Royal until pretty recently, and then I have about 35 seconds to play games every single week, so
yeah,
it is what it is. But real quick, in regards to recording gameplay footage, obviously I want you to send me some footage of whatever you want to use in the background of this podcast. Yeah. Half of it'll be my Mega Man 7 footage, and then your half. But I record older games. You record newer games. I typically am recording in 4x3, and I have to use my own background. What about you? Do you have like a background like that you like to use? Like, have you ever run into that issue before even?
Not really. Like, even when it's something like I have a pretty beefy Kingdom Hearts 2 footage that I use as like stock footage for stuff when I need it. Like, I believe in my Final Fantasy ranking video, I got hit with the old YouTube copyright.
For what?
Apparently, which it completely baffled me, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was for the music I was using, which is it's like that vocal theme from Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the Promise. The Promise is the orchestral one. I think it's called Sarah's theme. And that's like used for everything in Final Fantasy 13. So I was like, man, maybe they got me with that. And I wanted to use that because that's like one of my favorite songs from 13. Because that also has an amazing soundtrack. But when I was actually going through it, it said it was a visual strike for the footage I was using, which is just the intro to Final Fantasy 13. So I looked at what they were saying it was, and it was from a concert from Square Enix where they had like different game footage playing.
Oh my God.
It just so happened to be that one part in the beginning of the game where Lightning like completely like dog walks a soldier.
Wow.
And just like wrecks stuff. And they got me on that visual one. So I was just like, you know what? I really don't feel like re-recording the footage or like doing that. So I just took the KH2, especially because like a 30-minute video and my computer's really slow. So like rendering it and uploading it was awful.
Yeah.
But I just put like the KH, I just made it small. I put the KH2 video just like directly in front of it for however long the copyright was.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's totally how I do stuff too. I swear to God, like half of video editing, people might think like video editing is this really like precise skill until you do something like that.
Yeah, no, it's just like, especially like after I spent like 5 or I think it was longer than 5 hours editing that video, and then it spent like another 5 rendering and then another 5 uploading. I was like, yeah, no. If I had to go back to the drawing board on this one, not happening.
Not happening. No way. Dude, good to know. So
yeah, and that one just has like a kind of, what's that thing like? It's got like 2 black bars, kind of.
The letterboxing.
Like widescreen or whatever it's called.
Are the bars on top and bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's letterboxing. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know the terms. But yeah, that footage has like that, but it's not too distracting. It's kind of.
I always deal with bars on the side.
Yeah.
Because I record games that are naturally in 4x3.
Yeah.
Obviously I know like the Legacy collections, like they have their own borders, but I edit those out and I put in my own.
Yeah.
Because it adds a little more, branding to it.
Yeah. What editing software do you use?
Oh no, I don't want to do this. I use Clipchamp.
Okay. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is probably not a good idea because of that terms of service thing that happened. But
yeah. Oh yeah, they got sued, right?
Are they getting sued?
I heard that Adobe was getting sued. I didn't look too much into it.
Well, I hope they are because that terms of service isn't great. But I think I'm just gonna, by this point, I don't know. I'm gonna just keep using it for a little bit because I really don't want to have to learn a new software at the moment.
Clipchamp is free.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's not good.
But I'm so used to Adobe Premiere and all the little doodads they got.
Yep.
All the new doohickeys that the kids talk about.
Your editing is probably a lot more fancy than mine, but
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is like Adobe has a thing where you can like fit the like zoom the gameplay footage to scale. But I was going to ask if your editing software has that too.
I think it does, but whatever.
You got to manually drag the corners.
Yeah. But I just set it up to 4x3 and then it recognizes that it's 4x3 and it's like, this is going to be the size of your video, and I'm like, no, do it 16:9 for YouTube, and then I add my background to it as an image,
yeah,
and lay the game footage on top of the image.
Yeah.
Super like Windows Movie Maker type of stuff, but you know.
Hey man, whatever works. If you see my thumbnails, it's
yours
very clear. Like I
thumbnails.
just started using Photoshop or a free photo editor, and it just threw stuff on there.
Oh, you want to know how I do my thumbnails?
Sure.
I don't know how familiar you are with Apple products, but we have an iPad and we film our content for the other channel, the lottery channel, on that. And I do the thumbnails on that. And there's this thing called Freeform, and it's basically like a ridiculously basic like photo editor. I don't know. It's kind of like if you took Adobe Illustrator and removed 99% of the features, then you get Freeform. But I mean, I can take an image, I can put some text on it, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I had to switch to Photoshop again before that whole thing went down with Adobe. It's like immediately the first thumbnail I did with that was the Final Fantasy ranking one.
Uh-huh.
But which is, you can tell I'm just learning Photoshop in that one. But yeah, before I used like this free one online. I don't even remember what it was called, but it wasn't great because you had to set an initial layer down and you couldn't switch it. So like whatever photo you put down as like the base layer, that was it, and you couldn't like raise or lower that one in terms of layers. Like, you couldn't move that to the front and put another one to the back. It wasn't great.
That's awful.
And you couldn't resize it either. Which
was it not Adobe Express?
No, it was like Pixlr, but without the vowels.
Oh, I think I have seen that.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Bless Adobe.
Yeah.
I refuse to use it. I refuse to like pay for Premiere.
Yeah,
and
no,
Photoshop
that's
and
like
stuff.
that is completely valid.
Yep.
And they're incredibly predatory in their payment structure, especially because they can like charge you a fee for canceling before your thing is up.
Yep.
It's not great.
I'll tell you, when I was in grad school, the school had the Adobe Suite, and I used it for some stuff, and it was phenomenal. I refused to get it myself, so that's why I do this really like. It might take a little more time because I have to switch between devices, and Apple iPad and I have a PC, and they don't really talk too well to each other. But there's all kinds of bumps in the road like that.
Yeah.
But I don't pay anything. I don't pay anything for any editing software or for any kind of photo thing. And
yeah, no, that's the smart choice.
Yeah, for now. I mean, if this ever does end up generating money, then maybe. But I'm getting by.
Yeah, no, whatever works, man.
And that's a message to any aspiring creators. There are, means to do it for free.
Yeah, for free.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to do what I did, because what kind of microphone do you use? If you don't mind answering.
You're just asking all. I'm just outing myself here so bad. I am using the microphone that comes on my laptop.
No, okay. And this is why that's a good idea. I spent too much money on a stupid Blue Yeti.
Yep.
And that's what I'm using right now.
And
I have
that's why your audio
boom
sounds
stick
10 times better
connected
than mine.
to my desk, which I think you mentioned when we had that like night we were with all the people from club.
Oh yeah,
like a while back.
Uh-huh.
And I think you yelled at me because I was backlit and you couldn't see my face.
And
then you were like, "Dude, come on, you got a streaming setup," and I was like, "It's not for streaming. I don't show my face."
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, no, I use the onboard mic on my laptop, and I mean that's pretty obvious. One of my friends,
good choice. It's got good quality, dude. Whatever it is.
Thanks. I mean, this is a pretty new laptop, so one of my friends, he actually works in like video production, like film, right?
Oh,
only person to comment on my audio quality in my YouTube videos. So, I mean, obviously he's gonna notice it, but anybody else, I don't know.
The thing I hate about the Blue Yeti is that it's so sensitive, and I talk, and you know me, I talk with my hands a lot.
Hey,
so
Mama
you
Mia.
can hear me.
Anyway.
Yeah, hey. What are you doing over there? I talk with my hands a lot, and you can hear it. I have to like. That's why that's another reason I'm so particular about the music. But you can still hear it.
Yeah.
sometimes me like going like clapping a little bit, like when I'm talking, like clasping my hands together. You can hear it, or you can hear my chair squeak as I'm moving.
Well, I keep squeaking my chair. I keep squeaking my chair right now.
I can't hear it, if that helps.
It's picking up on my mic though. I can hear it back, sadly.
Quick aside, because I was actually like looking at what footage I have, because I had to delete a bunch of footage because my computer was getting
Dude, I just bought a 1 terabyte. Okay, the one thing I have spent money on for this adventure is my 1 terabyte SSD external hard drive to just pump game content into.
Yeah, that's probably something I need to invest in, because when I did that, because for the most part, most of the gameplay that I have is like, it is modern games, but they're all like they're not as like AAA, you know, like I have like Kingdom Hearts, like which is basically like most of them are like the PS2 games, and then occasionally like Kingdom Hearts 3, which is not super intensive, and then Trails, which is always been like, you know, Trails has looked like a PS3 game through and through, which is not an insult to Trails. I think it's very charming. I love the series.
Yeah.
But it's not very graphically intensive, so it doesn't take up a whole bunch of space.
Yeah.
Like I have my one gameplay footage, which is about 5 minutes. It's only 695 megabytes. But
oh my gosh, yeah.
When I did the Final Fantasy ranking video, I would get like 10 minutes of footage, and I'd be like, 12 gigabytes.
For me, it's just so nice to have like this device on my computer where anytime I need anything from Mega Man X, X2, X3, 7, 2, or 5, because I've like recorded full playthroughs of those now, it's like, boom, I can go find it. It's just so nice.
It is nice. But back to what I was going to say really quick. I was like looking at the footage to see what I have that we can use. And one of them is I just named it Goofy Dies.
Oh my god.
I just thought that was
Is it from Kingdom Hearts 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course, right?
Yeah. Can't believe they just killed him off like that. Never brought him back. Just never brought and it was pretty graphic. I was surprised for a Disney game from. No, I mean like, he fake dies. I'm just blowing it up. He comes back immediately. He gets hit in the head with a rock, and then
Do I need to edit out like cutscenes? Just given this Final Fantasy 13 thing that you were talking about.
No, so I'll send you, because I just have, unless you want to record something else, I have like an hour Kingdom Hearts 2 footage you can just like take 30 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I use is like a lot of, and that's not even cutscenes. That's just me going through like the optional kind of dungeon thing in that game. So you'll see me play really bad gameplay because whenever I record something, I play so much. I somehow forget all the buttons.
Okay. This was another topic that I wrote down actually, and you brought it up. So like playing for content versus playing for fun.
Yeah.
And like when the camera's on, and even if the camera's just OBS screen cap, it's like a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
And
I think what doesn't help is I always look, because I use an Elgato and I always look at my like laptop sometimes to see if because after I learned from before, I try to collect footage from like the entire prologue for the first Trails of Cold Steel, and legitimately it was like I got like 2 to 3 hours of footage, and I was like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna be, and it's not even like that much. I went to go and edit it, and I was like, why does the footage stop at 10 minutes? And then it just legitimately repeats the same frame.
Yep.
So now anytime I record, I always look at the screen. I'm like, is it recording?
Yep. I totally get that. I mean, I told you that I lost me killing Sigma in Mega Man X, and I have the entire rest of the game.
It's the worst when you lose footage, especially like after so long.
So I'll tell you this. I'll give you this tip. This is what I learned from the Mega Man X incident. Never set your default recording file type on OBS to MP4.
Yeah.
Always do MKV and then remix it.
Yeah, and then you convert it,
Yep. Never do MP4. I thought I was being cheeky by skipping a step, and then lo and behold, me killing Sigma. And I felt so proud of it, too, because I didn't use the Hadouken at all. Like, I killed him legit, which I've only probably done a few times in my life. And it's like, file corrupted.
Yeah, it sucks. My piece of advice is, if you get an Elgato, make sure it's compatible with your computer software.
Oh, yeah.
Because The old one that I had is apparently it's either broken or it's not compatible with my drivers.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to lean towards maybe a little bit of both because it does not connect to my PS5 at all. So I had to get a whole new one, a newer model, which is way more money.
Yeah, my challenge is going to be finding something that is, one, compatible with my computer, evidently, and can also accept the input from like a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the tough one.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I had to get a workaround for, I don't know if you know, but PS3 is encrypted HDMI.
Oh,
yeah. Everything else, basically, every newer console is unencrypted. So if you want,
of course, the PS3 is the problem child. It freaking always is.
And you can't get the capture on a PS3 with a standard like Elgato, at least for one that's compatible with like PS4, PS5, and all that, because they take unencrypted. So the way you get around it is you have to get an HDMI splitter.
Yes.
Which you can get pretty cheap.
Yes.
And then you just, instead of splitting it across two HDMIs, you just plug one into the input, plug one into the output, plug in your Elgato, and then it makes the footage on the screen a little funky, but it looks great looks completely fine on your laptop, and it unencrypts it for you.
So what I'll need to do is probably get an upscaler from AV to HDMI, and then record HDMI that way with the Super Nintendo, and then split it and play it on a flat screen.
I've been struggling to figure out, besides just getting like pulling a ROM and just like, because I have like the own personal philosophy, and I know because we talked about your Mega Man 2 video and you mentioned it there with having like an own personal thing of like not just emulating a game unless you have it, and I have that same thing. But I was always, because I've wanted to record handheld, especially for like some of the Zelda handheld games.
You need the GameCube player.
Does that take in Game Boy Color games too?
Yes. To my knowledge, yes. The GBA player for the GameCube takes them all. And if not that, you can get the Super Game Boy for the SNES. I don't know if you have a SNES, but yeah.
I do not. So.
Damn. Well, you can get a Super Nintendo and get a Super Game Boy.
Yeah.
I don't think that does Game Boy Color, though. I think it just does original Game Boy, but I'm not too sure.
Dang Nintendo.
I think they made a Super Game Boy 2 on the Japanese version only that took Game Boy Color. So good luck. $1,400 later, and you'll be able to record that Game Boy Color game.
I could record Oracle of Seasons.
Yeah. You'll end up buying a Super Nintendo, a Super Famicom, both versions of the Super Game Boy, a voltage stepper, a different capture card, like
and just
to make it
web
Oracle
of wires.
Yeah,
and I'm like holding a little Game Boy Color.
Yeah, just to make an Oracle of Seasons video.
Just to have it feature in like a Zelda ranking video for 2 minutes.
Yeah, literally. At that point, you buy the cartridge, but then you also emulate it. So then it's like more.
Well, I mean, I have the cartridge, so it's not. Yeah. And that was something I actually wanted to bring up to you because I know how that was going to be one of my questions that I brought in. If you don't mind changing topics real quick, how do you feel about those retro video game like companies where they make like a retro video game style case, but in the plastic case style like modern games?
Do you mean like Shovel Knight or what?
No, like so there's a website that I've bought a few from. It's called Gaming Relics, where they make sort of modern style cases with the artwork of like for games that came in like the cardboard boxes. So
yeah. Like but it's NES, like a hard case.
SNES, but it's like it's like a DS case basically. Yes.
Okay, I got you. I thought you meant like indie companies doing retro games. I'm just off in a different planet over here, but
yeah, because like I want to know how you feel about that, because I
totally
recently bought a bunch of like Game Boy Color games and like I bought all the Pokemon games and also like all the old Zelda games.
So how much debt are you in?
Well, that's why I didn't want to get them CIB, because if I try to get like Pokemon Crystal CIB, I would be completely broke.
That's what I talk about with in my most recent at this time, at least my most recent video, the Mega Man X3 one, that I used to own that cartridge, and it's like a $300 game, but complete in box it's like $1,000, and
which is a big no from me.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when I was looking up, because I was like, how do I store these properly? I was trying to find like little plastic things to hold them in. I'm like, but I still kind of want to display them. And then I found like websites like that, and I was like, man, these are actually good quality cases.
I can actually tell you all about what I do for like my NES games and stuff. I have a pretty large NES collection. I'm up to over 200 NES games. I am going for the full set over time, over a long, it's like a life goal.
Yeah.
Right? 200 is already like a third of the whole freaking thing, so it's not bad. Or a fourth.
Yeah, that's definitely not bad.
Yeah. I did it really fast because I found some good deals on like eBay lots, and I came across some games that were fairly rare for a decent price, but I've slowed it way down since then. But I was like really going hard when I got back into it. There's a company, I think they're just called like Retro Protection or something, and they make just like clear plastic cases, but it doesn't have the artwork on it. It's just clear plastic, and you can store, like, they make them for the boxes, they make them for the cartridges, and then they make little like baggies for the manuals, and I think they're great. And for the NES, they say that you can get like the regular ones just to fit the cartridge in, or if you want to do the cartridge and those like black sleeves that NES games come in, they fit in the DS cases. So when you said DS games, I was like, oh yeah, like this. Yeah. They're great because then you have a standard unit of measurement too, that you can determine like exactly this many fit on the shelf because they're all the same size now. Like they're all like completely uniform when they're in these cases. So that's how I'm going to end up building my own shelf, is by basing it off of those measurements. So I like them because they're clear and you can still see the cartridge itself. But I know that they also make like mini boxes that are supposed to be the box art for NES games, and they perfectly fit the cartridge in them. I think they look really cool. They're just a little too expensive.
Yeah. I mean, again, like if you want to try gaming relics, they're like $5 a pop for the cases, at least for the Game Boy ones and Game Boy Advance ones. And they are pretty good quality. The only issue I have with them is for the Game Boy Advance ones. They have the same holder as the Game Boy Color ones.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
And it's like a split kind of thing. So you just put it in like the bottom part, and I always thought that was a little weird.
I'll tell you,
still works.
I just bought Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. I finally found it. It was a little challenging for me to find because it's high demand game, and the store that I go to, they have the dates on it for when it was traded in. It was traded in like the day before I was there, so I just right time, right place type of thing. And I'm like, nice. I found this game, yada yada, but I don't have like a good way to display Game Boy games, so I might have to look into that.
Yeah, I do think they are pretty good quality too. Like they don't feel like cheap or anything.
Yeah,
they feel like a DS case.
Nice. But yeah, I feel it's so necessary to do a little something extra because I am not putting my copy of Snow Bros or Mega Man 5 on the shelf like loose,
Yeah. No, like when I see people who put like loose cartridges on a shelf, and like part of me like like it seizes up a little bit.
Yeah. Now, Monopoly on the NES, if I'm out of sleeves, I know what one's not getting a sleeve.
That one's going bare on the shelf.
Yeah. Some of them can go naked. That's fine. But yeah, it's just I just feel like it's necessary to get a little something extra. What I really like are the it's like half of a Super Nintendo cartridge. I think these were the official sleeves that go on the bottom of the Super Nintendo carts, and they have like the little 4-button logo on them, and they're like the dust sleeves for them. They're really nice and snug, and I like those a lot.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know much about the SNES because I never grew up with the SNES.
I love me a SNES.
I grew up with the good old Sega Genesis.
Oh my God, you are on the loser side.
Well, listen, I did not pick. My dad had the Sega Genesis, and
of course,
just,
given our
passed
ages.
it down. And me and my brother, I still I remember a lot of memories we had with that Sega Genesis. But the one that I still remember, which is my favorite game on the Genesis, I'm pretty sure, is I've talked to you about it before, but I don't know if you remember. It's the Double Dragon Battletoads crossover.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna edit that out.
Hey. You're coming after me.
Game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it's and I still remember we could not get past the stupid rat boss of like the second level with the scooters.
Blarg
we got past
or whatever.
The scooter level, and then we got to the rat boss, and then we died. We had to go back to the scooter level. And we're like, nope,
dude. I forgot that you were into that game. So I can tell you stories about that game like forever. So That game was released on the Genesis, the NES, and the Super Nintendo.
Oh, I don't know. I went back to NES still.
The NES version's rare. It's actually pretty rare. It's like a $75, $80 game. I have it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have it. It was one of the first games that I bought when I got back into collecting for the NES because I was like, this is one of the most meaningful retro games to me, but the Super Nintendo version. But I want to get the NES version now just to see what it was like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I bought it. I paid like $75 for it. You know, it's justified the price in my head. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So, I got the NES version. What?
I said I've spent more on games, so you're good,
me too.
dude.
Me too. That's the thing.
Sometimes when I like my finger hovers over the mouse, and I'm like, should I?
Yes, always.
Should I
always. I get that itch too. But the Super Nintendo version. So I have a great story about it, and it's funny that I'm bringing this up because the next video that I'm working on is actually going to be the start of a series that I'm going to do about Super Nintendo collecting and Super Nintendo games and stuff because I have so much to say about it. The Super Nintendo version of that I own was one of my childhood friends, and him and his brother had it, and the label was just like destroyed. It's just like totally messed up. Like you can't even tell what game it is, like type of bad. And he just gave it to me because, you know, he knew I had a Super Nintendo and he would always play it at my house. And he got really, really good at it and beat it eventually. And like I would try and co-op it with him and I would just like die and suck and he'd like get annoyed at me and then just go beat the game on his own, you know?
Dude, there was always that one friend who was like really good at like co-op games, and you like play it for the first time and they're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. So
like, I don't even know the buttons.
But I sold my, you know, childhood Super Nintendo collection, but I always kept that because there's no way I was ever letting go of that one.
Yeah.
So I always had that cartridge.
That game is like up there as like one of those like formulative games that like is so nostalgic to me.
Totally.
And like that, and like the two, I know it's different between the versions, but Aladdin.
Genesis, yeah, you like Genesis Aladdin? You're one of those edgy guys?
I never played the Super Nintendo version. I had a Genesis.
I think I did own both.
I didn't even know there was a difference until like I saw like over YouTube, and like I legit thought the only difference is that he had a sword.
Oh no, they're like totally different games.
Yeah,
that's so cool though. I forgot that you liked Battletoads Double Dragon. That's like it's
such a great game.
So I legitimately the NES version of that game is so overlooked because obviously it's on the 16-bit consoles, but
yeah,
I don't know an NES beat 'em up that's better. Like, I think it's better than Double Dragon 1, 2, or 3. I think it's way better than Battletoads. And I don't know. I've never played Mighty Final Fight because that game's like super rare, but I know a lot of people really like that game.
That one? Is it Streets of Rage, or is that
Streets of Rage is Genesis, sir. Mr. Sega over here.
I didn't have a lot of games. I was like, it was Double Dragon Battletoads. It was the first two Sonics, not even Sonic 3.
Hey, you're fine.
And then Contra 3.
No, you had Contra
Aladdin,
Hardcore.
Yeah, Aladdin and The Lion King. Mm-hmm. Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. Which was better on Genesis anyway.
Yeah.
Because it had blood.
Like, sports games.
Yeah,
that was
well,
it.
The Genesis had good sports games.
PGA Tour.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah. There was a hockey one. I don't remember what it was called.
NHL. I think it's like NHL '94. People say it's like the best hockey game ever.
It was so good.
Yeah. No, I mean the Genesis is fine. I had one and I had a Sega CD. I had a 32X in my original collection, but I'm just so partial to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I mean the Super Nintendo's got better games, like for sure. Like that's not even like a question to me.
Yeah,
it's like it's got. I mean, JRPG wise, it's got.
Oh, of course.
Three of some of the top Final Fantasy games.
The Genesis has like one JRPG on it, so
yeah, Golden Sun, right?
Golden Sun.
Isn't Golden Sun Genesis? Or am I thinking? No, Golden Axe is Genesis. That's not even.
I think you're thinking of Golden Axe. Golden Sun, a GBA game.
Yeah, I don't even know what JRPG is on the Genesis then.
What's it called? Shining Force. Isn't that the Genesis one?
Yeah,
I think the first two Shining Force games are on the Genesis, and then the third one's on the Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
There is an Atlas RPG on the Genesis. I believe it's called Crusader of Senti. and it's like
Oh, not even like a Mega 10 game.
no, no,
Oh,
it's some like high fantasy like
hmm.
weird game. I think it's worth like $1 bazillion. You
Yeah, I
know,
bet there's
Yeah.
a lot of like stuff like that. It's insane.
look it up on my
But
phone
yeah,
really
that
quick.
I mean, I'm sorry. The SNES
Yeah, the SNES.
also had Chrono Trigger.
Yes, it sure
It
did.
had
Secret of Mana.
Dragon Quest Five, Secret of Mana, but it had
Yep.
Dragon Quest Five, which I've heard is like one of the best Dragon Quest games. Just let me get around to playing that.
Dragon
Uh,
Quest Five.
Yeah,
It was that Super Famicom.
yeah.
That never
Well,
got localized,
that was
right?
also for the SNES too. I'm pretty sure it was brought over. Would have been Dragon Warrior 5 probably at that point.
Oh yeah, it would still be Dragon Warrior, but I know the first four were on the NES, and like the third
Yeah.
and fourth one are really expensive.
Yeah, the first four I believe are on the NES. Then 5 and 6 are the Super Nintendo, and then
Right.
then it goes one per console. Basically, it's like
Dragon Warrior 7
7
on the PS1.
Yeah, 7 on the PS1, and then
Yeah.
8 on the PS2, and then
And then the
9 on
DS.
for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know what 10 was released on. That was like an MMO.
Oh yeah, 10 was an MMO, right?
And then they made an offline version. We still don't have that. That's
It's
the only
Japan
Dragon
only.
Quest game we don't have over here. I'm pretty sure.
It's Japan only.
Yeah.
So get this.
So-
Crusader of Senti. I'm right on the name. Sega Genesis. Loose 550.
Oh God.
Complete 1200.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Price charting
Yeah.
value too. So eBay it's going to be probably even a little higher.
Yeah. Ooh, that one. That doesn't.
Put that
I
on
think
your
I told
list.
you about it. I looked up the Persona, like, because I was like looking up because I was like, maybe I should like try to see if I can collect some of the SMT games because
Right.
I love collecting JRPGs like the PS2. That's like
Totally,
probably like one of my
totally.
favorite eras for JRPGs. And I got all of the Personas for the PS2. I even got like the original Persona 3, like not FES,
Yeah, yeah. I used to
and
have
like
that.
the extra box with the art booklet and everything.
Oh, nice, nice. I didn't have
Yeah.
that.
And then I was
You
like,
get the box
let
for
me look
Dragon
up, like-
Quest 8?
Yeah, I do. I have the box
Nice.
for Dragon Quest 8. Although that has the demo disc for Final Fantasy 12. And
Oh, yeah.
it's like with all the stuff in it, it's like the case doesn't close
Oh,
because it's
Oh,
like
right.
it's got all the manuals and then also the demo disc.
are you into Wild Arms?
I am not, but I've been thinking about getting into it because I've heard people say that like parts of Trails are kind of inspired by Wild Arms,
The first,
especially like mechanically.
the first Wild Arms. The soundtrack is just so good. I love like the town theme, and I believe the battle theme was also really good. I played it like once for like 2 hours, and that was about it. But
Yeah.
I wish that I still had some of my PS1 RPGs. I had kind of a nice PS1 RPG collection too that I sold. Wild Arms was one of them.
Yeah, I love like that PS1, PS2 era.
It's
for
so good.
RPGs.
Are you
And,
Star Ocean
I mean, I
guy?
told you the what?
Star Ocean.
I bought all of them. I don't have all of them physically yet. I
You
have,
got the PS2 one or PS1 one?
I have the remakes for
Oh, word.
yeah, like what is it? I have Second Story R and then whatever the first one is for
Yeah.
the remake for the first one, and then I have because they went on sale on like for PS5,
Uh-huh.
like on the digitally for like $3.
No. Oh, yeah.
And I was like for each, and I was like, oh hell yeah. The only one that didn't have was the one that everybody hates, and I just bought that one for PS4.
the fourth
um,
one or whatever, right?
Yeah, like
Like
Integrity and Faithlessness or whatever it's called.
Yeah. The third
Yeah.
one on PS2, the same friend who loves Battletoads Double Dragon, he loves that game too.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna get around to playing them. I have them all. I have my goal is because I have a huge backlog. Right?
Totally.
So my goal
We all
is
do.
to just stick to a series and
Yes.
try to like go. So like I'm trying to catch up on all the Pokemon games. So I just
Good
have to
luck.
be. I just have Yellow and Crystal left.
Crystal's my
Um,
favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played Gold for the first time like recently.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty fun.
Gen 2 is my favorite, man.
Yeah, Gen 4 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Specifically because it's got my favorite region, which is Sinnoh, and then it's also got the remakes for Gen 2.
Of course.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Soul
then-
Silver's phenomenal. Yeah.
And then the other two ones I'm trying to get through are Dragon Quest and mainline. I'm starting with mainline SMT,
Oh,
even though I haven't played all the Persona games yet.
You
I
doing the
still need to play
weird
1
like
and 2.
SMT 1 and 2 on Super Famicom? Like, are you doing those?
I don't. I'm starting because I have 14 games to play with SMT, I'm like, I'll go back and play the fan translations later.
There's a weird game, like an obscure SMT game on the Super Famicom called SMT If. Like Yeah.
I've heard about that one. That's like was that the one? Was it that one or SMT9? That's like the one that was the basis for Persona.
I think it's If.
Like the high school setting.
I think it's If. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I plan to do mainline. So I have at least all the ones that you can get pretty easily in English, like SMT3.
Yes.
Which I'm currently playing through.
Oh, good. I love that game.
Absolute butt kicked by Raito and how to stop.
Yeah. That game's hard. Like that game's like if you want an actual hard JRPG, SMT3 is like legitimately difficult.
Yeah, that one I didn't get it at first because I was like, man, what are people talking about? This game's not hard. And then I got to Matador.
And he just that's the first one. He just rocks your socks, man.
Yeah, and then I got I just made a demon. I think it was it Uzume or whatever. Like Null's Force and is like got Media. So I was like,
yep.
Oh yeah, and then
you have to dog force against Matador. Yeah.
And then I dog walked them. And then the next like major boss, which is I think Thor. I had two I keep calling it Persona. 2 demons that were weak to lightning. Completely, that man did not stand a chance. And I gave him a handicap, and this man did not stand a chance. And then I got to, because I'm playing the remaster, which has Raito instead of Dante.
Boo! No Dante.
You have to you have to pay for the DLC to get Dante instead.
Boo!
And then this man did a Yoshitsune, which I'm pretty sure is a guaranteed crit if it hits on everything. And he did it like 5 times, and I was in a row. And I was like, welp. And he can null all stat debuffs. And I was I don't even know how I'm supposed to do this, man. I finally beat him. And then my game crashed. Lost that save. And then 8 tries later, I beat him again. And then I'm like, I'm going to take a break.
Let me know
if you I haven't played in a month.
Let me know if you ever beat Beelzebub, the boss of the like underworld or whatever.
I need to if I'm going for the true demon ending, right?
Yeah. Which I didn't get it. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to go for the true demon ending because I want to do
what's the underworld called in that?
I don't know if it's fought in there, but I know like the like thing you go through is the the Amala network or whatever. That's the thing you use the fast travel, I think.
The Amala network. And in the original Japanese version, that was not in the game.
Yeah, that's like a.
It's called the Maniacs version or something, right?
Or Chronicles or something.
Yeah.
And that's where they added like Dante.
Yes.
From the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, from the Devil May Cry
now
series.
Now featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry. And I believe originally it was Raito Kuzunoha.
Right.
But so I'm definitely I have that one. I have SMT4, which I actually have a physical copy of that.
Nice.
I do want to get a PS2 copy of SMT3. I have the remastered version right now, but and then I also have a 3DS copy of SMT4 Apocalypse. I have digitally Strange Journey Redux. I also want to get a copy of that. And
I was going to ask if you had Strange Journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have SMT5. I'm going to play that one, like the original one on the Switch, and then I'm also going to play Vengeance, which I also have.
Nice. I've never played it. I've never even played 4. I only really have experience with 3.
And then I also have, these are all digital, but I want to get the PS2 ones at least. The 2 Raito Kuzunoha games, and then Digital Devil Saga, which are actually, I looked at the price.
Of course.
Digital Devil Saga isn't bad. It's like $50 or something.
Not bad.
Yeah, and especially when I look at freaking Persona 1, it's $500.
Insane. I can't believe that game's up to that much now.
Yeah.
And
then I also have Devil Survivor as well.
Right. Everybody who comes to my channel for like Mega Man videos is going to be like, oh my god, why are we talking about all this Shin Megami Tensei crap?
Yeah.
I just thought about that. This is like totally different eras, but I can hold my own in a conversation not about the NES or the SNES.
Yeah. Well, I can't because or about the NES or SNES because I never grew up with them.
Yeah.
I've only put like my NES experience is The Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 1 through 3, and then Dragon Quest 1.
The only one of those that you need is Zelda 1.
Well, Final Fantasy 1. No, Final
Fantasy 1's okay. I mean, the NES, like the cartridge, like the regular NES version. I get it. Back in the day, it was revolutionary. Yada yada. It's such a slog.
Oh, it is so poorly programmed.
Yes. Half the spells are bugged,
Not even just that, but the spike, the whole, I think it's called spike tiles or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is like when you step on a tile, it starts a boss battle, and they forgot to put in a flag to say this boss was defeated. So anytime you step on a tile, the boss shows up again, and it only happens for certain bosses. And it just so happens that the 4 fiend fights in the final dungeon have all 4 of them.
Yep.
And that's one of those games where you can't save inside a dungeon.
Oh yeah.
And you also can't heal inside a dungeon unless it's potions or the 3 cures or whatever you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'll tell you though,
rough.
For uploading segments, I'll definitely give you all the SMT segments. Anything about, old school games, I could put on my channel, but the more modern stuff you can put on yours. I feel like that fits our channels better.
Yeah.
Totally. But it works.
Yeah, I feel like at this point I've put myself into a JRPG hole.
I don't want to put myself in the Mega Man hole too much. And no, that's not me saying I want to be in Mega Man's hole, but I don't want to become a Mega Man only channel.
Yeah, I felt that way. That's what I wanted to make more Trails videos, but
yeah.
I didn't want to become a Trails channel because first off, Trails is still pretty niche.
Yeah, me and you are 2 people in the US who play that game.
Yeah, oh, you play Trails?
I played one of them a little bit.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yep. I figured that counted.
I've been trying to get people to play. Everybody I meet, I've been trying to get to play Trails.
Didn't I sell you my Cold Steel?
No, you sold Burtis.
I sold him that too?
Yeah.
The Vita one?
You sold me the box, the box and the coin.
The coin, yeah, the coin.
The pin and stuff for the Vita, but not the game itself.
Oh my god, I was such a scumbag.
I did buy. No, sorry, I bought it for $3.
Do you still have the Vita?
But I did. I got the Vita version sealed.
Nice.
For like 10, so off of eBay. So it's not
nice.
Yeah.
Do you did
give me your Vita. Yeah, of course.
Nice. Oh, nice. I'm glad
that's how I'm able to play Persona 1 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the Vita without shilling out hundreds of dollars for the PSP.
I know that everybody rags on it, but the PlayStation Mini has Persona 1.
Yes,
Yeah.
The one that I think that's missing a whole second root, right?
Yes. It's a horribly flawed. It's just like Final Fantasy 1 where it's horribly programmed and they mess some stuff up with how much money you get. It has a scaling issue or something. I don't know. But for me, the way that I played Persona 1 and 2 back in the day was the PSP versions.
Yeah.
And I had the boxes for those too. Sold all that.
I do know that people complain about, and you did too, I remember you complaining about it, them changing the soundtrack for Persona 1.
Oh, God, it's so... yeah. I didn't like the PSP, some of the changes they made for that. The PS1 soundtrack is really good, and I was not a huge fan of the PSP version. And no ability to switch it, where I think for Persona 2, they gave you the ability to switch it.
I always like when games give you the ability to switch the soundtracks on the fly. Pokemon, I think it was Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Gen 4 remakes.
Yeah.
They give you an item that you can switch back to the DS soundtrack from the orchestral ones. And I love that. Even if I do really love the orchestral ones, I'm like, man, sometimes it's good to go back.
And how on the fly in the Halo collection you can change the graphics. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I love when games do that.
Yeah, me too.
I was of the opinion that this is going to be a deep cut that I don't even know if anybody else, unless they're watching this, who also likes Trails. Back when they ported over Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure on the originally PSP games, then they had the Evolution versions for PS Vita games, which had updated art and completely remixed soundtracks. And because I had only heard really one Evolution remix, which was for the final boss theme, which is the original version is amazing, and the Evolution version is also amazing. But originally, when they ported them over, man, I kind of hope you can switch between that and the Evolution soundtrack. And then I learned that some of the Evolution tracks are not great. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad they don't have the option.
That's fine.
I take that one back.
Yeah.
I do think Zero and Azure's are at like the Sky games. Their Evolution soundtracks are oof. But the Zero and Azure ones aren't that bad. Like
nice.
Especially again, like the Azure Arbitrator, which is the final boss theme. They add in like like this whole like 5-minute guitar solo that was not in the original, and it's really good.
Oh, word.
And I'm like, man, it adds like it's two different vibes for the final boss, and they're both very good.
I've been exploring. So my last video was about Mega Man X3, and I only talked about the Super Nintendo version, but there's also a PS1 and a Sega Saturn version of that.
Yeah.
The difference between the soundtracks are immense because it's a cartridge and a CD. The PS1 Rockman X3 soundtrack, it creates a totally different environment, and I'm like, I could redo this video and talk about the PS1 version, and the script would be entirely different.
No, I do love when games kind of change their soundtracks. I don't like when they change in the other direction, like Dragon Quest VIII.
Yeah.
How it went from orchestral on the PS2 to MIDI on the 3DS.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah. Although I do, and like a same kind of thing where it's like Dragon Quest XI, the original version for the PS4 is the best looking version of that game, but it's the worst sounding
because it's MIDI, right?
MIDI. Yeah, it's MIDI because
I remember that
the composer wanted to sell the CD separately or something like that, so he wanted to make it MIDI.
I remember
that soundtrack is Booty Cheeks.
Yeah, I bought that game when it came out, and I hated the soundtrack because it was like MIDI, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
And then the Switch port has an orchestral soundtrack,
right?
And added a whole bunch of stuff, and that game is like, I love the original version of the game. The Switch version blows it out of the water,
of course.
And then they ported it to PS4, which is the one I played. But it's still the Switch version. It's just on PS4. That's why it looks kind of worse. But yeah,
they fixed the music.
They fixed the music, and you can switch it back, which I don't know why you would
ever want to do that. Yeah, it's dumb.
And then that is another great game. I'm gonna put that as one of my top games of all time.
Nice. The only two RPGs that I would for sure do videos about would be Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
That's definitely it for me.
Those are both great games.
Yeah, and they're it's not necessarily because they're great games, but because they're very significant in these certain parts of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely. Final Fantasy IX is I don't know if you have games that you think of with certain weather.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. For me, I still remember playing Final Fantasy. I still remember in high school there was this huge snowstorm that blowed through.
Yeah.
Like a blizzard. Yeah. And it was like I was out of school for like 2 straight days for that.
I think I know what blizzard you're talking about. Yeah. Because we grew up in the same area, obviously.
Yeah, I forgot that we grew up very close to each other.
Yeah.
Or relatively. But yeah, and then I still remember playing Final Fantasy IX with that snowstorm kind of blowing out my window.
Oh,
and
nice.
For me, Final Fantasy IX is synonymous with snowstorms, heavy snow.
Right. So for me, Final Fantasy IX was the last game I played before I graduated high school. So for me, it's that start of summer feeling. So it's totally different, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But that's why it's a significant game to me, obviously.
I'm like that with Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, which those games are about you go into high school and then eventually the character's graduating and stuff. And I played that one, legitimately, I played Cold Steel 1 right at the end of my the spring of my last year of high school.
Right.
And it was I already got accepted to college, so by that point I didn't really care about school.
Yeah, totally. Senioritis.
And then Cold Steel 2 I played legit fall of our freshman year of college. So and when that ending hit with it's not really a spoiler. They graduate at some point. You can't.
Yeah, of course.
It's 4 games. But yeah, and when that ending hit, and I was like, man, it was one of those resonated with me on an actual personal level beyond just the story itself. And I was like, man, this game is going to stick with me forever, and it does.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why you end up making YouTube videos about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are at an hour and about 17 minutes, so it's probably a good place to cap it. And obviously, I have a decent amount of editing to do. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that cool stuff, and we'll bring you more episodes. It's probably be about a once a month thing. You know, just keep it casual, keep it light. This, that, and the other. Got anything you want to say?
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell and whatnot. And yeah, it's been a great time.
Yeah, totally. And I promise we'll talk about something other than Shin Megami Tensei next time. Just kidding. We're only going to talk about that. See ya.
Yeah, it's